Ever think a dancehall artist could give us deep insights into social issues? That's what we're getting into today. Vybz Kartel. You might know him as this big, sometimes controversial name in dancehall music. By the way, if you aren't familiar, dancehall is a genre of Jamaican popular music, came out in the late 1970s, known for fast rhythms and lyrics that touch on social and political themes. Think of it like reggae's energetic cousin, a little extra edge. But here's the thing, Vybz Kartel is also a published author. His book, The Voice of the Jamaican Ghetto, that's our deep dive today.
And it's interesting, right? This book, it wasn't just a cash grab using his name. It got critical acclaim, really resonated with a wide audience, way beyond just music fans. People were drawn to this raw, unfiltered look at life in Jamaica, especially for those dealing with poverty.
Okay, so unpack this a bit for us. The book takes Kartel's lyrics, those are often seen as party anthems, and uses them to dissect Jamaican society, especially life in the ghetto. It's described as this raw, unfiltered perspective from someone who's been there. And get this, the Amazon description says the book should be read by every Jamaican and any person who is interested in the real Jamaica, not the tourist version, the real deal. Thoughts?
Well, you need to understand the context to really get the weight of what Cartel's saying. Jamaica, the nation, faces deep socioeconomic issues, and dancehall music has always been this outlet for social commentary, a way to give voice to the struggles of marginalized communities. Cartel, given his background and his platform, he's in a unique position to offer this perspective.
Right, absolutely. What I found so interesting was how he structures the book. He takes his own lyrics, which some see as controversial, and breaks them down layer by layer to expose the social problems underneath. Poverty, crime, government corruption, all of it. And reviewers, they always mention the book's raw honesty. You read any reviews yourself?
Yeah, and it's really something how people connect with his writing. One reviewer said they found the book really eye-opening, said it gave them this deeper understanding of what everyday Jamaicans go through. Another, they were blown away by how insightful his analysis of Jamaican society was. Like he peeled back the layers and showed them the heart of the ghetto, which I think shows how powerful his storytelling is.
And it's not just complaining, right? He actually offers solutions, which I find refreshing.
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. He doesn't just point fingers. He offers solutions. He calls for systemic change, definitely, but he also emphasizes personal responsibility.
You don't hear that enough, do you? It's easy to blame the system, but he's saying we got to look at ourselves too. Any solutions stand out to you?
Well, he really gets into the need for better education, especially in the ghetto. He says that not having good education keeps people trapped in poverty, makes it so much harder to break free. And he connects this back to his lyrics. Like there's this line in his song, School. He raps about how the education system, it doesn't give young people the tools they need to make it.
So he's making that connection between his art and what's happening in the real world. I bet that hits home for listeners, those who feel like his music gets them.
Exactly. And this gets to why the book is important. On a bigger level, it's not just about Vybz Kartel, the famous guy. It's about the voice he gives to people who don't have one.
Yeah, that's something we need more of. I mean, we hear about these problems, but it's always from the outside looking in. This feels different.
It is. It's hearing it straight from someone who's lived it, whose lyrics are full of the struggles and the dreams of a whole community, one we ignore too often. He's challenging how we see him and how we see life in the ghetto.
He's making people think twice, holding up a mirror and saying, this is real life for a lot of people. Let's talk about it.
Exactly. He makes people face those uncomfortable truths about Jamaican society, about the part we play.
It makes you think, what can one book do? This book, The Voice of the Jamaican Ghetto, it's doing more than starting a conversation. It's making people look inward and maybe even take action. What do you think?
It shows how strong storytelling can be, especially when it's from voices that have been pushed aside. And there's a real call to action right there in the book.
Tell me more about that. What's he asking people to do?
It's a lot of things. He wants to see big changes,
Yeah.
like dealing with poverty, putting money into education, into opportunities, and doing something about government corruption. But then he turns it around and he challenges people to take responsibility for what they do, to better themselves even when things are hard.
So it's on us, too. He's not letting anyone off easy.
Right. He's saying change has to come from everywhere. And that's a message that goes way beyond Jamaica.
It makes you think, these issues, right? Poverty, inequality, not having opportunities, that's everywhere. Every country deals with that.
You're right. And that's why this book can speak to so many people. It gives you this raw, unfiltered look at what it's like to live through these things, no matter where you're from, what's sticking with you from everything we've talked about.
Honestly, It's the power of seeing things differently. Cartel's book reminds us that sometimes the most powerful insights, they come from the people we least expect. We gotta look past our own ideas, be open to hearing different stories.
That's such a great point.
Oh,
It shows how important it is to listen to different voices, different viewpoints, even when, maybe especially when, they make us question what we think we know.
yeah, it makes you realize there's always more to the story, right? And sometimes those stories come from the most unexpected places.
You got it. And what strikes me is how Cartel, he doesn't shy away from the tough stuff, but there's still this sense of hope throughout the book. He's not saying these problems are impossible, just that they need our attention, our action.
It's like he's giving us this call to action, but it's not desperate, It's more like we can do better, but first we gotta really see it, acknowledge what's going on.
Exactly. He's not giving us easy answers,
Yeah.
but he starts a conversation, and that could lead to a real change. I think that says a lot about the power of art, of literature, to get things moving.
Makes you think about how much one book can do. One voice. Someone finishes this deep dive and wants to learn more. What should they check out?
Well, reading The Voice of the Jamaican Ghetto, that's a good start, obviously. But then, look into other voices from the Caribbean. Dig into the history of dancehall music. See how it's always been this way of speaking out about society. And find some organizations that are dealing with these issues Cartel talks about. Get involved.
It's about keeping that going, the learning, not just listening to us and forgetting it, but letting it spark something.
Right. And that's what makes these conversations so great. They can open your mind, challenge how you see things, maybe even push you to make the world a little better, a little fairer.
This has been awesome, really eye-opening. The Voice of the Jamaican Ghetto, that's going to stick with me. I think our listeners are going to feel it too.
For sure. It's a book that stays with you. I give
Wow.
credit to anyone who's willing to really listen to what it's saying.
Thanks for coming on this journey with us, into the heart of Jamaica. Exploring social commentary through Vybz Kartel's words. Let us know what you thought. Hit us up on social media. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.